Welcome to the Lowland Catchup. It's myself, Rampant FM. I'm back after my Twitter meltdown last week, Sean. It's just me and you today. Obviously, Mozza can't make it. He's busy. How are you doing anyway?
I'm not bad and quite high spirits after the league kicking off there. So, yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, brilliant. I'm glad I got my Twitter meltdown on in pre-season because I noticed there was a few sort of back and forths on Twitter last night. Shire obviously not happy with the game at BSC, especially that second half. Churchy on Civil Service Strollers Twitter on match day, which was interesting, and obviously had Fashway's hat-trick, maybe getting a wee bit of stick for taking the match ball back from the Kelty game from other players in the league, so interesting.
Absolutely, I think that was one of the bigger news stories I think over the last week, and I think you sort of triggered a wee bit of a trend there with everybody seemed to go into meltdown a little bit on Twitter. You're right, the Civil and the Shire ones on match day were definitely kept it interesting to watch. I like the stuff going on between, I think anybody can see it on Twitter, between Dean Brett and Fash. It's kind of, a wee bit of excitement before they two meet in the league. And then obviously we had a wee bit of Lowland League Catchup getting involved again with Paul Thompson and East Kilbride. Sort of jives going on as well. So
me and Paul Thompson, it's not that I don't dislike the guy, we just don't agree on a few things.
Not going to be listening, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, I disagree with him on, especially on what he said about firepower and stuff. Obviously, I made my point that I think it's a wee bit too early to judge East Kilbride on firepower and stuff. But no, we talked kind of late last night privately, and obviously Paul Thompson knows more about East Kilbride than I do. I'll never ever claim that I know more than him. He's obviously an insider at the club and stuff like that. But no, I just didn't agree. I would argue that point for most of the Lowland League clubs, because if you're saying they're lacking, firepower, I think it's a bit unfair just simply because it's so early into the season. I mean, there's two clubs that we'll get into that have not even opened up their league campaign. East Kilbride being one of them, so it's it was just a disagreement on that point only. But so as we're talking about them, we'll get into the Betfred Cup and East Kilbride. They came off a brilliant win against former Lowland League team and rivals Edinburgh City. They won 1-0 at Ainsley Park, and they went into the weekend win against the Dunfermline. They could have won the group, but they were beaten by a really good Par side. I think Pars are looking really good this season, 4-0. Overall, I think their Betfred campaign, I said it just before, I think on the game, I wish them well. I think they've done the league proud. I think they've done fantastically well in the competition. It looked a wee bit doom and gloom when I last talked about them, because they had that second half against Albion. Came on, they've certainly done well, but I think it was expected that they were going to get beat, maybe 4-0 off a really good Dunfermline side. What were your thoughts on East Kilbride's Betfred Cup campaign?
I think they did really well for the calibre of team they are to be able to come away with 5 points when they're playing against the type of opposition that they obviously, that's where they want to be. They want to be playing those kind of teams. It was a cracking group. It was one of the most interesting ones in the Betfred Cup as well, and it was a good test for East Kilbride. I totally agree that you got to take it with a pinch of salt, because it's all relevant who they were playing against, and when you're going to go and play against a top championship side like Dunfermline, 4-0 is a respectable score, and then to go and pinch one against Edinburgh City, who they've obviously got a wee bit of history with, and also the game against St Mirren, I think they had a really successful campaign in the Betfred. Definitely the more successful of the two Lowland League representatives, I would say.
Do you think they're lacking firepower? Put you on the spot a wee bit.
Do you know what I think? I think they showed last year what they're capable of doing, and I totally agree that the league's got stronger this year.
Yeah.
East Kilbride are a team that were difficult to score against, and you take Dunfermline Athletic out of it, and they did pretty respectable, especially not conceding against Edinburgh City or St Mirren. And then for a firepower standpoint, they added Rory Payton, who I think is going to be a great addition to the side. So I think they've got slightly stronger, maybe not to the same calibre as some other teams, but I think they'll do fine, and I think they'll be able to churn out some 3 points without winning 6-0 or 8-0 like we saw over the weekend.
Yep, absolutely. And obviously another point that I made obviously is the fact that Craig Malcolm, who was the top scorer of the league last season, East Kilbride's top scorer and captain, he's been recovering from injury, so give the guys a chance, as I said to Paul. But speaking of scoring, move on to Berwick Rangers, who can't seem to score at the moment. Kind of a different point of view on their Betfred Cup campaign compared to East Kilbride's. Midweek, Ian Little, he said there's been improvements. Obviously, they didn't concede as much against Falkirk midweek. They only beat 3-0. They played Livingston, obviously a Premiership side, at the weekend. The Tony Macaroni, or the Spaghetti Had as it's known, they got beat 5-0. What do you think of their Betfred Cup campaign?
Yeah, I think it was a bit dour, wasn't it? But it's again, it's a different calibre, and it was a tough group to begin with, and the exact same as East Kilbride, even though East Kilbride were substantially more successful in this campaign. I think Berwick, we need to see how they do against some of the opposition in the Lowland League before we can really provide judgment or give our thoughts on how they're going to do this season. But yeah, I think the big thing for Berwick after that campaign is going to be getting their heads up and getting ready for the Lowland League, because they conceded 21 goals. Doesn't matter who you're going against, to concede that number of goals, that amount of goals over 4 games, it's your heads are gonna go down. And then we spoke about it plenty last week with how long it's been since they did score a competitive goal. We don't really need to go into it all again, but they need to get their head up, get some goals, and we kind of have to wait and see. That they've got a cracking couple of fixtures to open up, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes. And I think if they don't get their heads up, they'll not make the best start, and if they don't make the best start, it'll be a very long season for them.
Absolutely, mate. Well, people have asked my opinion on them. I still reckon probably about mid-table. I don't see them being right at the bottom. I have seen people sort of put them, in like 12, 13, 40. I just don't think that's going to be the case. But there was another issue that people were sort of bringing to my attention through the official Catchup Twitter. I had a few messages, either tweeted at me or obviously just asking my opinion through a direct message, if you will. But they were concerned about the ticket pricing. They're going to be charging fans £10 for standard admission. I did put a poll up this. I certainly don't like to single out one club, if you will, but there had been a few concerns, as I mentioned, regarding the ticket prices from Lowland League fans. I think when it comes to this sort of thing, there's going to be fans that out of principle will not pay more than they pay for their own club, and it's maybe just not the extra £2 or £3 or whatever it will be. I think it's just that out of principle they wouldn't pay another club more than they pay their own, and I understand that. So I asked the question, is £10 too high for a standard ticket at this level? And 356 votes on it. 6% said it was too high. 17% both said with travel costs and said it was fair. So is that a wee bit worrying for Berwick? Considering, we've talked about it a wee bit. I think me and Derek, obviously, having a bit of, Berwick away, get a caravan or whatnot, whatever that cost's going to be. Would that put fans off the ticket pricing?
I think there was I did keep a close eye on that poll as well, and I think there was some good arguments from both sides. I did see one fan of Berwick that did point out the fact that they have made that step down, and it needs for the club to be able to continue moving forward. They'd like to see it get down to the same level as other guys, but they kind of understand that it needs to be staggered. So if we get to next season and it's closer to the £6-7 that we're seeing across the rest of the league, I think I'll be a bit happier. If they do the same thing again next season, I think it'll definitely be frustrating, because I do think there's an element of that. The fact that they were charging League 2 prices last season, and it's a big drop, which is brilliant. It's the affordable football league, so it's great that we charge those prices, or the teams, charge those prices. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It wouldn't necessarily put me off, and I think where Berwick are, it's gonna, it's gonna be quite a travel for most fans. So it's gonna be the home support, and for the home support, the ticket prices are going to be cheaper than last season. So I can't see them being too frustrated with it. But yes, for some of the travelling fans, I can see where the frustration will lie. But for me, it's going to be seeing how it goes. If they're playing in the Lowland League next season, will they drop their prices down to make it fair and in line? Because they've knocked the chunk off already. So it's only a few quid, but it's a tough for me personally. I'm okay with it, but I could see why people would get frustrated with it.
The issue with me, obviously, and this is why I mentioned the travel costs thing, is say Berwick do quite poorly in the league, say they're a mid-table team, say the likes of a Kelty or a Shire or someone is going down, and Berwick are doing so poor, and maybe Kelty or Shire or EK are all at the top. Would fans be put off the fact, oh well, we're going to beat them anyway, sort of thing? Why would I pay a tenner or an extra tenner to get the bus or a train or petrol money down? That would be my concern. Actually, just what goes on in the pitch, and obviously you're not going to be attracting too many sort of new fans, if you will, if the team's not successful, in my opinion. So it's going to be an interesting one. Right, now into the Lowland League, brand new season, our first review of a match, and we're not even going to be reviewing it. It's going to be the missing man Moza reviewing our match of the week. He's left us a wee bit of a soundbite for us to, obviously him being at the game. And on that note, we want to obviously congratulate William and Scott, who were our 2 match of the week ticket winners through Twitter and Facebook. So hopefully they enjoyed the game. Put over to Moza.
Hey guys, Derek here, and I'm here to tell you about their Lowland League Catchup game of the weekend, which was BSC Glasgow playing host to East Stirlingshire, and I was lucky enough to be there. So it was a bit of a kind of tousy start. BSC started quite promisingly, playing some nice stuff. Interestingly, they're getting a new style of playing, new formation on the go. Apparently it was the same formation, but it seemed to be a lot more flexible than it was last season from Swifty. It took Shire a wee minute or two to get going, but when they did get going, they probably edged the first half overall. First real kind of out-and-out chance, 20 minutes in, it was a free kick for BSC after Jordan Tappin came over the back of Martin Green, and Declan Hughes took it over the bar, not too far over, but an early sighter from Declan. Then just 4 minutes later, Shire took the lead from a corner. Jordan Tappin riding to meet a perfect Mark Miller cross, and it stayed that way for the rest of the first half. There was a couple of little chances here and there dispersed through it. There was a good cross in from Declan Hughes into Martin Green, but he put the header wide. Shire had a couple of half chances as well. Interestingly, and this will be key later on, Jamie Hamilton in the BSC midfield picked up a yellow card for a tackle that actually was Robbie McNabb's foul. The referee had a wee bit of a mare with that one, and as I say, keep an eye for that later on. But so went into the break 1-0. Shire pretty happy with their work. BSC maybe feeling slightly hard done by, but not creating too many clear-cut chances on either side. Then into the second half, probably BSC edged it overall. In that 55 minutes on the clock, suddenly the pass moves were starting to get going from the boys in yellow. Tam Orr, Ross Lindsay, Jamie Hamilton, nice triangles in the middle. Ultimately, it fell to Hamilton, who tried to curl a finish round Barkley from the edge of the box, but the Shire keeper had it covered. And that was a sign of what was just to come, because the next attacking move just a minute later resulted in a penalty. Full disclosure, this one was a little bit controversial. So the ball went through to Tam Orr. He took a touch, tried to go round the defender, and there was contact, but he did go down quite easily, is the accusation. Now, the referee didn't have any hesitation, gave it, and Tam made no mistake from the spot. Ultimately, from where my eyes were, my position, modern football, if you get contact and you go down, you're going to get a penalty. Simple as that. But the Shire fans did feel hard done by, it has to be said. And they did feel that the referee wasn't having a great game. I kind of feel like he wasn't having a great game, but not just against Shire. There's one or two baffling decisions against BSC as well. It's one of these things though. Say the 70th minute, there was an elbow from Peter McDonald, for example, jumping up for a header with Ross McMillan, but the referee wasn't giving out yellows for elbows, which was interesting, because there was one earlier on in the first half the other way round from BSC as well. At that point, Robbie McNabb made his way into the book for a foul on Nicky Lowe. He probably would have been sent off if the ref had caught that initial foul in the first half, but he was soon subbed after that, so Swifty knew what he was doing. And then, as we went towards the end, the last minute, things boiled over a wee bit. There was frustration, mainly from Shire, I think, that had gone to get the 3 points. Ross McMillan went up for an aerial challenge. I can't actually remember who the Shire player was he went up with, but the two of them went up, bodies flew everywhere, elbows flew everywhere, and things just kicked off, basically. Ultimately, Jamie McCormack also picked up a book, along with Ross McMillan, and at the time, Shire's Twitter had said 2 clear red cards. I think they were just getting a wee bit caught up in the heat of the moment, to be honest. That 2 yellows was fair. It was just a kind of full-blooded aerial challenge, and McMillan came off second best. And ultimately, our thoughts go out to Ross, because apparently he was a bit unwell after the game. Fingers crossed all's well there, especially with the games now coming thick and fast. But final score for the Indooroil Stadium was BSC Glasgow 1, East Stirlingshire 1. And I was quite impressed, to be honest, with the way both teams went about this first game of the season. It would have been easy to be a damn squib, but it was combative. It was an interesting game to watch. 2 very different styles of play going on, 2 different formations. I expect Shire to get better as time goes on. They're clearly still feeling out the team and teammates and so on. BSC don't have that issue. All the boys pretty much know each other, with the exception of a couple of additions over the summer. And probably best players for both teams in the pitch. I think Jamie Hamilton had a cracking game for BSC. He looks a right decent prospect, and he's been rewarded for a good pre-season performance, getting into the first team there. Ahead, I think most people would have expected Michael Anderson to play. On the Shire side, Jordan Tappin was very impressive to me. It's not often that you see Martin Green in a right tussle in this league. He tends to have his way with certain defenders, but Jordan Tappin, he's clearly put on a bit of brawn since he was last at Shire. He was dominant, he was strong, he was a right threat at the other end at set pieces. I'd expect him to get a few goals in the process of the season going through. And yeah, he was just a really impressive performance from him. So that kind of sums it up, I think. And I will be back next week to give you thoughts on whatever game we end up picking as a game of the week. So I'll throw it back to Chris and to Sean.
So that was Mozza's views on how BSC East Stirlingshire game went. Obviously a 1-1 draw. 2 good teams, I think. We always knew it was going to be a competitive one. It was always going to be a sort of nervy one. There was a lot of frustration. We mentioned it a wee bit on the Shire side of Twitter, but I think there was a wee bit of frustration on the BSC side, I noticed as well. So from what I've seen, the highlights and stuff, the ref I think did lose a wee bit of control in the game. I think it's fair to say. Mozza mentioned that I think Robbie McNabb should have been maybe off the park. Peter McDonald was hauled down just before the BSC penalty, so Shire might have been a wee bit aggravated at that, because it certainly looked like it should have been a Shire penalty. We've discussed the Tamor incident. At first I thought it looked like a dive, but it looks like he either lost his footing or he overstretched. Derek did say there was contact, but from the highlights I've seen, I don't know if there was. It's really hard from the angle. But at the end of the day, I don't think there was too many complaints on the penalty. I think Shire, from what I've gathered, there wasn't a lot of chances in the game. So I'm assuming it's just out of frustration, not getting the one in the bag, but certainly 2 teams with a bit of history. What were your thoughts on the game, Sean?
This is a game I was looking forward to see how it went. I thought it would be quite a telling game, and thankfully Shire TV had it up. I think they had it up Sunday afternoon, which meant I got to have a look before we recorded the podcast. I think the teams were quite evenly matched, and I think one of the reasons that the referee maybe lost a bit of control in this game is because this was a big game for both teams, a game that they both wanted to win. You sometimes get some of the other games across the league, you'd expect one side to want the win and the other one would have wanted to keep it respectable. But this is two sides that really wanted to get off to a winner. You've got Shire, who have invested heavily in the pre-season, and BSC, who were the runners-up last season, and they want to repeat that this season. So, there was a lot of passion in this game, so I'm not surprised that it got a little bit heated. I think, Mozza made a lot of really good points. I don't know if it's because I've only saw the Shire highlights and they're always going to be a little bit lopsided towards Shire, but I thought it was a very even game. He was there and he said that he thought it edged a bit more towards BSC, but obviously, he's going to say that, isn't he? Even if he don't touch the ball, I think he's going to say BSC had the better football in that one. But yeah, they were definitely nice, evenly matched. I loved watching the highlights as well. They're going to have special effects in by the end of the season. I think the way that they were panning in and out on some of the shots, every time there was a tackle or the penalty, anything like that, they were zooming right in on it. I kind of loved that. I was just waiting for a wee explosion to go off at the side. But I think they were quite evenly matched teams, and I think it was a fair result for both sides, I think.
Was a penalty for BSC?
I'm in the same boat. I watched the highlights and it does look like he maybe, it looks like he falls over more than anything, to be honest. But you can't see if he's being pulled down or how much he's getting pushed. And the referee was closer than the camera was, and he didn't seem to show much hesitation when he gave the penalty. So, and BSC had their chances. So if Shire didn't want to draw, you've got to take more of the opportunities than they did in the game.
There was a wee bit of handbags towards the end as well. I don't know if any of them warranted sending off. There was an interesting one. I don't know what Shire player it was, but it did look like he might have hit Tamor. I know there was other things going on, but that's what I was focused on because just his reaction. But at the end of the day, the game is over. But yeah, definitely frustrating. I think more so on the Shire point of view than the BSC side. But we always knew it was going to be a competitive game, and that's why it was going to be our game of the week, if you will. That's why we picked it. We'll move on to Bonnyrigg Rose versus Vale of Leven. Bonnyrigg making their first appearance in the Lowland League at home at New Dundas Park. There was worries about this game getting postponed, but it did go ahead. I was thinking to myself, I was like, Vale of Leven don't have any luck. They had so many postponements last season with their own ground, and not even their own ground, and it could have got postponed. But no, it went ahead. 23 minutes, a goal via the head of Kerr Young on his 150th appearance for the club gave Bonnyrigg the opener and their first goal in the SLFL. 4 minutes later, after a cross from Scott Gray, George Hunter slid in at the back post to make it 2, and it was 2-0 at half time. It looked like they were sort of cruising, all things considered, but it wasn't until the 64th minute that they added to their lead. It was a cross by Curry, slid into the front post by Kieran Magaki. It kind of got a bit wayward now, 4-0. Again, 4 minutes later in the 68th minute, superb individual effort from Dean Brett makes it 4-0 to Rose. It's a penalty just before, sort of towards the end, if you will. 87th minute, it was a penalty. It was Jamie Docherty was brought down in the box. He dusts himself down and converts from the spot to make it 5-0. And on the 89th minute, it was a cross from Hunter met on the volley by Lewis Turner to make it 6. Very impressive outing for Bonnyrigg Rose. There was an early change. I think it was just before the first goal. I think Ali Smith went off for Vale of Leven. I don't know if it was an injury or whatnot, but if it was, hopefully he's okay. But yeah, it looked like, obviously Bonnyrigg took their chances early on. It seemed to have kind of died down a wee bit until pretty much the last half hour. Obviously we knew they were going to be up there in terms of teams just coming into the league. But what are your thoughts on the result against Vale there?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely what Bonnyrigg wanted to do. They set out to come into this league, and they want to make an immediate impact, and that's exactly what they've done. It was a very convincing win by the sound of things against Vale. It'll be interesting when and I say if and when the highlights come out to watch it back and to see how Bonnyrigg actually played together and how dominating they actually were. But 6-0, it's pretty dominating, to be honest, and it's exactly what they were looking for. Vale Leithen, they'll be obviously a bit disappointed. I don't think it's a game they would have expected to win, but they were travelling away from home against a very good side. Yeah, it's two teams that were expecting to sort of play for the different ends of the table anyway, so it's exactly what Bonnyrigg wanted to do. Sounds like they've got some really good quality players for the season ahead, so it should be interesting.
So I know you guys talked about it last week, but obviously Edisport Academy, I don't know if I'm going to refer to them as the Braves too much during this podcast, but yeah, I'm not too fond of the name, to be honest. Do you want to take us through the game against Edinburgh University?
The Braves kicked off their first game in the Lowland League as the Caledonian Braves, and it was a quick start for them. It was Ross McNeil who scored the first goal for Caledonian Braves after just 4 minutes to make it 1-0. It was very, very quiet, to be honest, for the remainder of the half. They both sort of had their chances, Edinburgh University and the Caledonian Braves, but at half-time it was 1-0 to the Braves. It wasn't until it was a couple of minutes after the break that the goal started pouring in a little bit, so it was almost identical to the first half, where Roscoe was sent through, but the keeper makes a save this time to keep it 1-0. Shortly after that, it was Blair Docherty that scored on his debut to make it 2-0. Shortly after that, David Sinclair from a free kick managed to smash it home to make it 3-0. The fourth came from Neil McLaughlin, who got in on the act with, as Caledonian Braves put it, a sweet strike. The fifth came from Ross McNeil, who grabbed his second of the game, and not to be outdone, Blair Docherty did the same to make it 6-0. He grabbed his second, and that gave Caledonia Braves the win in their first game in the Lowland League over probably a weaker Edinburgh Uni side at this point in the season. So yeah, it was a dominating start to their campaign for Caledonian Braves. Totally new look to this team. Even their Twitter was far more active than Edusport Academy's was on match day. Edinburgh Uni, a side that we've all said we're a little bit worried about, wouldn't have been happy with that. They're going to be looking towards their team getting a bit stronger, but I don't think either of the Uni teams really like to use that excuse very much, so I don't think they're going to head back to the university and sit thinking, do you know what, we've not got our full team. I think they're going to be disappointed with that result, especially when they were playing at home.
Yeah, it just seemed like the second half they just fell apart, really. I mean, I wasn't at the game, but I did notice that Edinburgh Uni tweeted out something along the lines like, well, we weren't sort of expecting that, but fair play to the Caledonian Braves. I mean, Blair Docherty, I think they've just signed him pretty much that day, if you will, or maybe he was training with them or whatnot, but they announced the signing that day. He looks like he's going to be a good young player. I think he was previously at SPFL and stuff like that. So, but yeah, fantastic result for Caledonian Braves. Just on Uni teams, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but obviously Stirling Uni and Spartans was postponed due to the weather at Forth Bank. I did notice that they did have the canoes out, but unfortunately no paddles. And Spartans are obviously delighted that they're undefeated in July as well, I noticed. So yeah, we'll move to Gala, who were beaten 3-0 off Cumbernauld Colts at the Netherdale. There wasn't really much to say about this game. Cumbernauld Colts opened the scoring on the 34th minute with Marty Wright, who was previously at Bo'ness, assisted by Craig Murray. So half-time 1-0, Cumbernauld Colts on the hour mark. Lewis Bonner scored with Stephen O'Neill getting the assist, and Stephen O'Neill then added to the scoreline to make it 3 a couple of minutes later, with then Marty Wright getting the assist. The thing about Gala, they were such a strong team at home, the Netherdale, so that was an eye-opener. I know Cumbernauld Colts tend to do well, like the sort of beginning of the season, and then obviously, as Moza keeps saying, they fall away. So, but that was a bit of an eye-opening result. But the one thing I was looking at was the fact that they had a a pre-season friendly 2 days before the league kicked off against Celtic. Obviously, I think that was in place before Neil Hastings came on board. But, I mean, it's good for the club in terms of, obviously, attraction and getting people to come and watch it. But was it a bit of a daft decision in terms of football? Because most of these guys played in that friendly, if you will, and then they're playing 2 days later against, Cumbernauld Colts, and then I think they've got a midweek fixture as well. So is that a bit daft in terms of football? I mean, these guys aren't obviously training every day, semi-professional.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit of an unusual one, and I think when you're going to invite somebody like Celtic along, it's going to, you're doing it a bit for the hype, but I think by the Thursday, everybody's just looking forward to the start of the league. So I think it would have lost a lot. It certainly did across social media, for what I could tell. It didn't have the same hype as some of the other ties that happened a bit earlier on in the pre-season. I'm not, it's well done to Cumbernauld Colts. Sounds like Marty Wright and Stephen O'Neill are going to have quite a strong place in that Colts side this season, as you would expect, to be honest. But Cumbernauld Colts are a team that I really like, but I have also been quite critical of them and thinking, I think they could move backwards a little bit this season, and I don't think this win is perhaps as dominating as it sounds because of the fact that they're playing against Gala, who are a team that they're just a bit all over the place at the moment. Another team that I do really like, but I think a 3-0 win it should be expected, but I don't think it's maybe paints the right picture of how the whole season is going to go for Cumbernauld Colts. I think they've got a tough year ahead of them. I might be wrong. I might be made to team awards later on, a few podcasts down the line, if we can do this a few more times. But yeah, certainly it was a good win for them. It was good to see some of those names. Like I say, Marty Wright, Stephen O'Neill, even Lewis Bonner managing to get a goal. But I think Gala are a team that they're really going to struggle this season against most guys, and they're one of them that we've not put out league predictions or anything like that, but we've all kind of said that we expect them to be down at the bottom of the table. So it'll be an interesting one. What did you think of the overall result?
Worrying a wee bit for Gala. I think I mentioned that. I think they're not going to do as well as they did last season, and they probably will be fighting towards the bottom. I just thought the friendly was a wee bit daft, to be honest. It was just personal opinion, obviously. But yeah, I know why, obviously, clubs do these sort of glamour friendlies to raise a bit of money and stuff. But from a football point of view, I don't think it was ideal for the lads to be playing a competitive friendly 2 days before the start of the league season, and also, the fact that they've got midweek fixtures early as well. Colts, I like Colts. They were my dark horse, as I called them so much last season. But I'm not going to put that label on them this season to curse them. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, certainly I think they're going to be top half again. I don't know if they're going to be as high as they have been. But certainly I would have reckoned probably 8th, 9th, if not further up the table. So obviously we mentioned it earlier. David Churchill was doing Strollers Twitter. They were away to Gretna 2008 at Raydale Park. They were coming off the back 4 wins in their pre-season, quite a successful pre-season for them, Strollers. Kyle Fee and his hairline were in a bit, were in for it a wee bit with Churchill on the Strollers Twitter I noticed. But yeah, it was an early chance for Josh Morris and a good save from the Gretna keeper. Half an hour gone and a fairly even affair, both sides with good chances, but it was still 0-0. Another good chance for the Strollers, Scholesy, who I'm assuming is Callum Yates. I think just because he's ginger. I'm just assuming it's him. I'm not totally. I know a few of the boys' nicknames, and I'm assuming it's Callum Yates. He whipped in a good cross in, and Josh Morris just can't get enough on it. 38th minute, Ashley Nitto is replaced by Duke Smith, or as Churchy put, number 7 for Gretna been replaced already. Scholesy has sent him to the shops. Like that one, very. But yeah, it was half-time at Raydale Park. It was still 0-0. But yeah, Strollers had been the more dominant team of the half, according to Churchy. There was a delay to the start of the second half. There was a puddle on the goal line. Scottish football at its best. 55th minute, a great ball from Scott Main and Mark McConnell, aka Sparky, heads at home to make it 1-0 Strollers. The 69th minute, it was 2-0 Strollers. Kyle Fee's boots have done wonders for Jack Downey as he chips the keeper with his left foot from outside the box. Well done to Kyle Fee. He was getting pelters yesterday, but he's done a trick there by lending his boots to Jack Downey. It was another chance for Strollers. Jack Downey 1-on-1, but the keeper got down well to save. The 84th minute, Gretna's Daniel Renyard was sent off or away for an early bath after a kick out on Scott Main, and Strollers wrapped up their win on the 90th minute. And Churchy asked himself if he might be asking Kyle for his boots on his return. Jack Downey again with a tap in from 6 yards. All over, fantastic win for the Strollers. Great Twitter commentary from Churchy there, and Kyle Fee's boots the hero, it looks like. But one thing me and Moza mentioned a lot, there has been a bit of a discipline problem for Gretna. I don't think it mattered too much how late it was in the game, but another sending off for Gretna, which isn't good right at the start of the season, or basically the 84th minute when the game's probably over at 2-0 if the Strollers are dominating. What were your thoughts on the match?
It's the start that Civil needed to make. I'm still a bit unsure what to make of Gretna, to be honest. Definitely a result that they'll be disappointed with. I think Strollers have got a strong team. I think they got stronger in the pre-season as well. A team that performed above expectation. I think they're going to have the expectation to do well this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that pressure. If we're getting this Twitter every week as well, I think it's something that I might not watch much football, and I might just be sitting checking out the Twitter feed. And I think Churchill will be hoping that when he comes back that Kyle Fee isn't rested, because otherwise there might be a wee bit of revenge on tap when that finally comes around, I think.
Brilliant. So we'll move on to our final game, a game that we were both at. Do you want to cover Kelty Hearts win over Dalbeattie Star, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a bit of stick last week for talking about Kelty for a bit too long, so I'll keep it.
8 minutes, mate. I don't know if anyone noticed, it was 8 minutes. That's one of the reasons I had to come back. Just
Something I said when I did ramble on for 8 minutes last week was that it was one game and Kelty now needed to go and repeat, and they did just that in their first. So it was similar to the Beef game. It was a Scotland and free kick again. That gave Kelty the opener after just 6 minutes. It was a bit quieter after that. Dalbeattie had a little bit of play, but Kelty were very strong at the back. It's one of the areas that they've definitely got stronger this season. It took up until the 34th minute for Kelty to find a second, and it was fantastic play by Easton to drive into the box, and Hubby made a really good run, Stephen Husband, and was able to tap it in for close range. As usual, the way with Kelty, goals seem to come over a short period of time, and it was only 2 minutes later that by Dylan Easton, again this time going on himself, and was able to put it in the back of the net to make it 3-0 to Kelty. Went in at half time at 3-0, and Kelty came out and started the second half the same way they ended the first, and 30 seconds into the second half it was Fash who made it 4-0. 2 minutes later, Fash was through again to get himself a brace and make it 5-0 to Kelty. And the 53rd minute, it was Hubby who was able to get his second with a curled ball from just outside the box into the top corner. And 57th minute, Fash was able to convert from the spot to make it a hat-trick for the Kelty striker. Kelty still dominated for the next sort of half an hour, and in the 85th minute it was substitute Ross Much that was able to be essentially in the right place as a Stuart Cargill shot was saved, I believe, and deflected to Ross Much, who was able to tap it in to make it 8-0. So Kelty were a really dominating start to their season. I think it would have been in the back of their mind the fact that Dalbeattie came up to New Central Park at the start of last season and were able to pinch a point in the season opener. So I think they've gone out, and like I've said about a few teams, they've done exactly what they needed to do with a dominating 8-0 win over Dalbeattie Star. You were obviously at the game as well. What did you think of the game?
The first half, like, you wouldn't think it because they were winning 3-0, but certainly I thought it was a wee bit scrappy at parts, like a lot of free kicks here and there, when the ball's in the air. But one guy, I know he obviously got a goal, but he was kind of outshined a wee bit by Nathan Austin and obviously Stephen Husband. But certainly Dylan Easton was fantastic, as was a lot of the lads. I think the main thing this season, the difference is there's definitely either a more hunger there or there's something there. I mean, we saw, like the guys like Muzz, obviously, who's the captain now. He's running up. He looks. The whole team look incredibly fit. I don't know if it was due to the run-in training that they had. Just before we continue, mate, obviously I did get a word with Chris Dodds. I apologise to Caledonian Braves. I thought your score was 5-0, and I did obviously mention it because that'll be the Kelties' next game. So we'll speak to Dodds now. So obviously Dodds, a fantastic result today. Is that as good as it gets for Kelty?
Well, certainly it's a great start. It's a really, really good start, and I think it sets down a marker as we did against Beef last week. I know Beef was a friendly, but people would have been looking at that result last week, and we've carried it on. Slightly slower start this weekend, but when you've got folk like Linton who can, just put one in the top bin from a free kick, it settles us all down, and then we carry on. But we were in at half time, and the gaffer said he wasn't best pleased. He'd be like, we could go up another gear, which we did, and I don't know how many goals we scored in quick succession in the second bit, maybe 3 or 4 I think. So
yeah, you got a bit of a rough tackle, from Curtis Wilson, the right back. Are you alright?
Dead leg, really sore one, to be fair. Could have been worse though. I'm surprised. I don't know if you were what end you were at, but I'm surprised it wasn't more than a booking, because it was a dangerous tackle. But yeah, fine. Dead leg. I dusted off and I was fine.
Okay, and obviously Caledonian Braves next week, they came off I don't know if you know, they came off a really good result today. I think it was 5-0 to them off against Edinburgh Uni. We're obviously their first opponents in their new ground. Is it something the Kelty boys will obviously be up to as well?
Yeah, to be honest, we don't really care at the moment who we're playing. Like, we know they're similar to the Edu Sport, or they are Edu Sport of last year. If they've got any of the same players, I don't know. But the gaffer will have them watched. But the way we're playing now, I mean, I don't think, whoever it is, whether it's the topper teams or the lesser teams, we'll be looking at putting out a marker.
Obviously, I want to thank Chris Dodds for that wee interview there. Another guy that I thought was brilliant, and this is, I think you touched on this yourself, Sean, but Ross Much, he came on really late in the game. He did get the 8th goal, but he done a Cruyff turn. What confidence from he's still a young footballer, and he got taken out obviously, but Cruyff turns and getting goals and that, he's going to be incredible. I think he'll probably be a part of the first team plans at Kelty also, but there's just so much quality in that team. It was, I think I touched on it before the interview there, but certainly it was very strange to see a team that I think Barry, the gaffer, and Chris Dodd touched on it, but they they're 3-0 up and they didn't look like they had gotten out second gear, which is very, you don't really get out of this level. But certainly that second half they just dominated Dalbeattie. But in fairness to Dalbeattie, their fight this season is not going to be with the likes of Kelty or EK or Shire. It's going to be against the teams around them. And I would suspect that Kelty will probably do this with other teams in the league this season. So I wouldn't be too hard on Dalbeattie at this point in time. And obviously it was Richie Maxwell's first competitive game, so it's not going to be a nice experience for him. But again, their fight's not with Kelty or the teams, the top 6 teams. It's going to be with the teams in about them, and they have another challenge coming up as well, which we'll get into. So on that note, we'll get into the midweek fixtures. We will be doing a midweek podcast, so we'll only be mentioning the midweek fixtures. We do have a fair few of them. We'll start with Tuesday, and we'll start with Vale Leven versus Gallagher Rovers, the big Borders derby. A few guys have switched places in the squads. Craig McBride and the like are at Gala now, and obviously Tommy Patterson's at Vale. How do you see that one going, Sean?
Yeah, it's a massive game for both sides, and they're both coming off of disappointing results. It's a harder game to call, to be honest, because Gallo was such a strong side last season, and this season they seem to have gone backwards a little bit. Vale seem to have moved forward, but I think I can see this game going even spoils, but I think there'll be some goals involved for sure, and I think it could end up being a cracker for a Tuesday night.
I would probably give Vale leaving the edge simply based on being at home. Adds a wee bit more. The guys, as I mentioned, you've got guys there that know all about Gala, and I guess it's vice versa, but I would give Vale leaving the edge there, just being at home. But it's one of these early season fixtures that, the 3 points could be vital come the end of the season for them. Civil Service Strollers are at home against University of Stirling, who will get to kick off their Lowland League campaign. Well, hopefully if the weather stays alright, but Strollers versus University of Stirling. I don't know who I'd give the edge to. I would probably say Strollers, because they're coming off that really good win against Gretna. They'll be delighted to be back at home. Stirling, very unsure at the moment, but given that they've not played a game yet, so but yeah, I would say Strollers in that one, just given the fact they're coming off a really good result. What about yourself, Sean?
I think I would agree with giving it to Strollers, but I'm a bit more confident. I think it'll be quite a comprehensive win for them. It's their home opener. It's against probably a weaker uni side at this point in the season as well. I think they're going to be quite ambitious this season, Civil, and these are the kind of games that they're going to see us. They need to go out and get the 3 points before they go up against the Shires, BSC, Spartans, Kelty, perhaps even Bonnyrigg thrown in there as well for the season, and maybe Berwick. So I think it's a team that Civil are going to go out and they're probably going to want to score some goals and probably not concede any. They're probably going to want to shut University Stirling out. I think Civil should win this game quite comfortably.
The Spartans versus BSC Glasgow. Spartans, obviously their first Lowland League game of the season due to that postponement as well. They're up against BSC, who obviously got that draw against Shire. There's a wee bit of a rivalry between these two teams, so it's always hard to predict these ones. I think BSC won at Ainsley Park last season, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Spartans, it's harder to call. I think obviously we know that they've lost a lot of good players. They've brought in a few guys known to the league, and obviously they've kind of added the under-20s going up. So I think I really don't know how to call this. I know obviously Derek's going to be there. I think I'm going to try and get there. I think yourselves going to try and get to this one as well. But yeah, it's I don't know. I can't call this one. I always usually go Spartans at Ainsley Park, but with BSC getting that draw against Shire, so I think they'll probably go out.
Yeah, the strange one for this one, I think for me, is I don't see it finishing a draw, but it's hard to call who's going to win it. I think BSC are going to go in and do what they did last season. I think they're going to pick up the 3 points at Ainsley Park. I think you make a great point. They obviously dropped a couple of points to Shire there in their season opener, so I'll be disappointed if they go away with only 1 or 2 points for their opening 2 games. Likewise, for Spartans to go away with 0 or 1 from their first opening, their home opener. Yeah, I think BSC are going to be a very good side again this season. It's early doors. It's hard to say when we haven't seen Spartans yet. They're going to be more rested, I suppose, to their advantage, whereas BSC are going to be coming off that big game there on Saturday against Shire. But I think I'd give BSC Glasgow the edge, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised if Spartans were to win by a couple of goals.
Well, this is a game that was picked out by you as a potential sort of game of the week, if you will, and I think we are going to be making that our game of the week. Obviously, Berwick Rangers versus Bonnyrigg Rose. A team just coming into the league from one end and a team coming in from the league from the other end, if you will. I fancy Bonnyrigg. I've seen a lot of highlights and stuff like that, but I think Bonnyrigg, coming off that brilliant win against Vale, leaving Berwick, conceded a lot of goals. Again, there's that thing where they haven't scored. But if they get a result at home against Bonnyrigg, it could be an eye opener for a lot of doubters. I would assume so. It'll be interesting to see the levels between the two sides. I think that's something that you've mentioned yourself. Who do you think is going to get the win?
I think it's a game that Berwick have to win, to be honest. I feel like the home opener in the new league, that it's a really important. They're probably the team that needs to win more than anybody else. But I think Bonnyrigg are going to take all 3 points in this one, just for the simple fact that Bonnyrigg are a team that score a lot of goals, and right now Berwick are a team that concede a lot of goals. That's obviously not a great formula for Berwick, but do you know what? There's a part of me that hopes that Berwick can go out and prove me wrong, because this is their opener. They've dropped down a league, and they should really be winning against the team that got promoted into the league. Do you know what? Sorry, my heart, if you like, says Berwick, but my head says that Bonnyrigg are just going to be far too strong.
We'll move into Wednesday's fixtures. Dalbeattie Star at Islecroft versus East Kilbride. They're coming off that heavy defeat against Kelty, and obviously East Kilbride are just starting the Lowland League campaign, coming off the Betfred Cup. For me, Dalbeattie Star are always a different side at home. A lot to do with the travel as well. Guys just don't like going there, and Dalbeattie Star are known to make it hard for some of the bigger sides. I don't see East Kilbride putting 8 past them like Kelty, especially away at Islecroft, but I'm quite confident to say that East Kilbride will probably get the win there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one. It will be interesting to see what East Kilbride can do after coming off out of the Betfred, especially a wee bit of the criticism that's been kicking around, not just from Paul, but about the lack of goals that they've had. So it'll be it'll be an interesting game, and East Kilbride, I suppose, will want to prove a bit of point. Dalbeattie will want to bounce back, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Islecroft's not an easy place to go by any stretch.
East Stirlingshire versus Edinburgh University. I'll just go on record and say Shire have to win this game. Similar to BSC, I don't think they'll want to drop any more points in their first 2 games. They're at home, in my opinion. They have to win that game. They have to go into that. And Edinburgh Uni, I mean, they kind of probably fell away in that second half. They were only getting beat 1-0 off of the Caledonian Braves, but Shire should be too good for them, especially at the Falkirk Stadium.
For Shire, even though they went up against BSC, I think it was a disappointing start to their campaign, especially when some of their competitors, the likes of Kelty and East Kilbride, playing the same day in their opener as well. Shire aren't going to want to fall behind, even. It could come down to goals. That's how good the top teams are in this league. So I think they will win it. I think it goes without saying that Shire are going to win this one, but I think they'll want to win it by a nice margin, to be honest. And I could see Shire knocking a few past Edinburgh University.
Caledonian Braves versus Gretna 2008. They are playing their first game at home at the New Alliance Park. I made a mistake earlier. I thought it was against Kelty. But no, first Saturday game will be against Kelty, but the midweek one is against Gretna. The old Edisport were quite inconsistent. It's something I brought up last season. I thought they had a great result, and then suddenly it was maybe not a great result, and then a good result, then a not a great. So to me, I think it's important that they go out and win this, especially at their brand new home ground. I don't think they will want to lose their first game there against Gretna coming up. But yeah, it's up to them to be consistent. I would probably give them the edge coming off that really good result against Edinburgh Uni. Gretna, I think, are probably going to be another team. They're still gelling. Humphrey's still got a bit of work to do there, so I would probably give the edge to Caledonian Braves in that one.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and I think we're going to see this quite a bit this season. I think the games between the teams at the top and the games between the teams at the bottom are going to be really interesting, because they are going to be quite closely grouped together, but I think there's going to be a huge divide between top and bottom, and I think we'll see a lot of lopsided results. It'll be interesting to see if the Caledonian Braves can go out and kind of get that monkey off their back, the consistency piece that they had with Edisport, because I think everybody used to talk about that. And yeah, this is a game that they have to go out and win, and they've made a fantastic start. It's only one game in there, but they were right up there with Kelty and Bonnyrigg for knocking a lot of goals in the first week and kind of making a bit of a statement. So they'll want to continue that and prove it wasn't just a one-off, I think. And yeah, Gretna might just fall victim to that, I think.
So that kind of rounds up the midweek games. We'll cover the weekend games on the podcast that we'll be doing midweek after all the games have been played, obviously. I'll get into plugs. As Moza isn't here, I'll let you go first, Sean.
Yeah, so you can find myself on Twitter. It's just at Spedding Sean, and I'll continue for this season maintaining the Facebook page, so you can find us on there at the Lowland Catchup.
Brilliant, and with me it's at Rampant FM, and you can get the Catchup at Official Catchup on Twitter. We do have some news regarding our website. I think some of you guys have known Rory Murphy is helping us do a catch-up website. It was meant to be up this week, but there was a bit of delay in terms of just some of the stats and stuff. But I did catch up with Rory at the Celtic game, and we'll hear his thoughts, giving us an update on the website now. Obviously, Rory, you're doing the website for the catch-up. How's it going? Obviously, there's a bit of a delay with it.
Aye, so the delay that we had was just behind the scenes with the database. We're hoping to get it out by the time you listen to this podcast. It should be out.
Okay.
The website itself is going to be the main information hub for the league. What we're basically trying to do is we're trying to give more people the access to the league, see what the league is all about, combine it with the podcast, and hopefully bring in more, ideally sponsorship, and more people into the league and show them it's an exciting league that people need to come and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I can't thank you enough for the work that you put into this. I know you've been working hard. I've had a bit of a sneak peek myself. Obviously, I can't wait till it's up and running, but I just want to say I appreciate obviously all your work, and I can't wait to see what the new website's going to be like.
No, thank you very much, and obviously it's a great opportunity for the group itself to be working with you guys this year, and hopefully we've got cracked on for the full season where people will use it, and it'll be a great information tool not just for fans but players, managers and coaches alike.
Thank Rory for that update there. So that's pretty much the first week. Bar East Kilbride and Berwick Rangers have not played yet. Done and dusted, mate. It's obviously a really good weekend of football. Really good to be back. We will be back for a midweek podcast. Obviously, cover the midweek games, and obviously we'll be back getting into the weekend action. A lot of good games coming up as well. So happy to be back, Sean.
Yeah, ecstatic. Pre-season. It's too long. So definitely glad to be back, and glad to see some of the results over the weekend, because I think it's going to be an absolute belter of a season. We just want to thank everyone that listens in, obviously the gaffers, the players, everyone that gets involved in terms of interviews. Again, it'll be something we'll be ramping up as we go, but we appreciate all the support from the league, people like George Fraser and everyone else, and we'll see you in a few days for the midweek catch up. Catch you later.